Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at the Countif function, which is similar to the count function, only this time we can specify a criteria and then only count values if they match that criteria. So let's look at the syntax. It's equals Countif, open brackets, and then the first argument is your range, and this is the range that you want to look in. And the second argument is criteria, and this is the criteria that you want cells in that range to match in order to be included in the count. Now you can put a number of different things in this criteria value, and it all depends on what you're trying to count. So for example, if you're looking at text values, you could have a word in quotation marks, and that would only count values that have that word. So for example, if you had a list of names and you wanted to see how many times Mark appeared, you could have Mark in quotation marks as the criteria, and it count how many times it appears in that range. You could also have the criteria as a cell reference. So say in the example, if you had the value mark in a cell, then you could click on that cell and it would count how many values in the range have the same value as the cell you've clicked on. And then the other thing you can do is, if you're looking at numbers, you can have logical operators within quotation marks. So you could have quotation mark and then the greater than sign and then a 1 and then a quotation mark, and that would count values in your range that are greater than 1. So let's look at an example. I've got a table here with pets, their name, their species and age. And then I'm going to find the number of animals older than 5 in this table, and then the number of cats and the number of dogs in this table. So we'll start with the number of animals older than 5. Here I'll type equals Countif, open brackets, and then my range is going to be the range with the ages in it, because that's where I want to find the values that are greater than 5 to include in my count. Then comma, and then my criteria is going to be greater than 5, and that has to be within quotation marks. So I'll type quotation mark, then the greater than sign, and then a 5, and then quotation mark again. Now I'll close the brackets, press enter, and that's given me the answer 5, and that's because in this table there's 5 values that are greater than 5. So now let's look at using some text in the Countif. I'm going to look for the number of cats and the number of dogs in this table. So again, I type equals Countif, open brackets, and then this time my range is going to be B3 to B10, and that's because that's where it says either cat or dog, so that's where I'm going to match my criteria. And then comma, and then to find the number of cats, I can type cat within quotation marks, close brackets, and what that will do is it will go down that list and look for any value that has cat and only include them in the count. So press enter, and that's given me 4. So I'll do the same for dogs, equals Countif, open brackets, range B3 to B10, because that's where it says cat or dog, comma, then quotation mark, dog, quotation mark, and close the brackets, and that's given me 4 for 4 dogs. Now what you can also do is, instead of typing the values, you could have a reference to a cell that has the value in it. So if I typed cat here and dog here, so getting rid of the colon, etc., So these values are going to be the exact values that are going to match to this. What I could do is make my formula equals Countif, open brackets, and then range B3 to B10, and comma. And I could just click on cat here, and then take that as the value, and then only count values that match that value in the table. So close brackets, press enter, and that's given me the same answer. And the advantage of doing it this way is if I put dollar signs in the range so that it doesn't change when I drag it down, I can drag that down to the next cell and the range reference hasn't changed, but the thing we're counting has changed, so now it's counting the dogs in that table. So it can be a quick way to count different things in the table rather than typing them out. So that's the Countif function in Excel, and it can come in really handy where you've got large tables of data and you want to count how many cells meet a certain criteria.